Hello, hello. Welcome to the Villains Room podcast. I'm your host, Mills. I'm here with a special guest, Alisha. She's one of my spiritual friends that I love to talk to all the time. And our main topic of today is religion and how we came across it, how it was experienced when we were children, so forth and so on. And oh man, just a lot to break down here. So Alisha, I want to know more about your experience with religion, how you were introduced to it, and what was your experience?
Right. Hey. Everybody that's listening in, appreciate you. I'm just gonna dive right in. All right. So, when I was growing up, for me, it was more or less like, like a tradition, part of the routine. Sunday come, you going to church. If I'm staying with my grandmother during the week at some point in time, going to like noonday prayer or Bible study. And it was just a part of the way of life. And I know in a lot of Black family homes, you would see like a white Jesus encased in a nice, pretty rustic frame. And that was kind of like what I was used to seeing. But as for me personally, I didn't really understand like the ins and outs of what I was being taught. Like I was read some stories, some parables, and those parables was explained, but I promise you, as a little girl, it sounded like, a bunch of gibberish. And as a child, you learn to believe the adults around you about what you're being taught. So that was like kind of my introduction into religion, just believing what the adults were saying were right and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that because what I was raised in was Christianity. I'm not saying that it was wrong, but I'm saying like that the preachers were lying because they weren't. But the version that I was being fed, that was basically like encompassed around this white Jesus, was definitely an embellishment that I don't think a lot of people was aware of. And as I got older, I started to see the embellishment in the religion itself. And I think a lot of times people really rely on religion in their lives, and everybody wants something to believe in, so it's easy to get indoctrinated into, because that's what religion is, an indoctrination into a system, and so a lot of times people get religion and spirituality confused, because religion is based on indoctrination and being institutionalized. Spirituality is something that is personal, something that is cultivated within you. You know what I'm saying? To take you places that you can't go by yourself. It's that divine intervention to take you to those places in the deepest, darkest parts of yourself that you can't go by yourself. And honestly, it wasn't until my late 20s heading into my 30s that I actually like really started embarking upon that spiritual side and really learning the history behind Christianity, because I was like, if I'm going to believe in this, I need to know what this really is. I need to know the history. Like, am I believing in something that has to do with a group of people that has nothing to do with me? Like, what is this really? And then going down that rabbit hole, it strengthened my personal relationship with God and my belief in Jesus. So
For me, my experience, not that great, to be honest with you. Just like you, Alicia, I'm like, why does most family households most family households I've been to have this white Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I've always just like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? All I've been seeing is like this man with the eyes just judging me and shit when I was a kid. And I'm like, yo, And then it's just like, it's kind of crazy. But, my father was very, 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 very religious. So, at that point in time, we went to a church, I think it was called Asa or something like that. Don't quite remember. And, I just remembered, though, when I went to church and I see all these people just dancing around and they're like, hallelujah, blah, blah, blah. And then I always was like, all right, these people are, you know, they like to dance, I guess. And I didn't really know what the dancing was all about. Mm-hmm. I was confused as a kid, especially I always looked at like the older people. I don't know why, but I always kind of looked at them and they would do like their little 2-step and their little, you know, little step in place. And I sat down and I was like, all right, cool. They were getting down. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, well, yeah. I felt mad uncomfortable. I don't know why that made me feel uncomfortable at that time. I guess I just wasn't used to that level of atmosphere in general. Right. And then, we would usually break up into these groups. There would be kids in one group, and then of course the adults would do their thing. I don't know why they did it. Like, again, it's been years, decades for me since I've been in church. And I'm sitting there and like, it was just a whole bunch of kids just talking about, not even about God or Jesus or any of that. They were just talking about like their personal issues and things of that sort. And when they're just like, you know, when the kids, including the teenagers, when they were like talking about these issues or what they're experiencing and how God or you know Jesus or whatever was, you know, how this religion, Christianity, has changed their lives. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. And I just sat silent. I just looked around the room. I was just listening to them and their stories and things of that sort. But then again, I'm like some of these kids would, like, sometimes they would just start cussing. There was like some points where they would just get into drama with other people in the church, and it just got a little too crazy. And then I think at one point in time I caught like a couple, or I don't know what it was, couple or not, I'm not sure what's going on. They were like together in this like one room, and I just remember like the girl just hopping off, and then he was like, "Oh, what's going on, Miles?" And I was like, okay. Remember, I'm like 8, 9, or 10, or and right. I didn't know what was going on. Right. But obviously, now that I'm an adult, obviously there was some things that I shouldn't be, you know, witnessing. I witnessed right, at that age. And so I was just like, so people get in. Wait, hold on. So we got people just jumping around, saying that, you know, this religion changed their lives, and yet they're doing disgusting, dirty things, cussing up a storm up in the church. And I'm like, these people are fake as hell.
Yes.
I was like, and that's the reason why I was silent as a kid. My mom thought there was something wrong, or people thought I was too shy. And I was like, nah, there's something wrong with y'all.
Right. And I'm not saying, and I'm not.
Yeah, and people thought that was weird, and it wasn't weird. I was just, you know, that was the type of kid I was. And then I think there's like one point where the pastor, I'm not gonna mention his name because I don't know if he's in jail or not, but I remember sitting down and he was coming around with a tray, you know, to collect the money. and then I just sat down. I was like, why are we giving the money? I thought this was like, you know, Lord, yada yada, blah blah blah, live heavenly, yada yada, all this shit. And then the tray came all the way back over, and then he looked into the tray, and he was like, "Come on, guys, I need a little bit more money than that." And I was sitting down there, I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "What's going on?"
What?
I was like, "What's going on?" And apparently he was trying to save up for another church, but that's gonna be an interesting scenario.
Right.
So like he was collecting money to get another church, and so he was kind of like being I don't know how to describe it. He was kind of forcing people a little bit.
Right.
To pay a little bit more when they can. And the way he did it was kind of aggressive. So I kind of felt some way about it.
Right.
And then, what happened was, eventually, like, I think he lost some money, quote unquote. And then, I think we've left after that because there was just some shady stuff that was going on. And I think my mother had mentioned, like, some encounters with him where he was, like, very attitude-ish. Pastor was very attitude-ish, and he just didn't like the energy that he was giving. And he, you know, I really do believe women's intuition's on a whole different level. Right. So, like, my mom told my father this. My father just ignored it, you know. He ignored it, and he was just like, he's just, you know, he's just probably just, you know, doing whatever he needed to do. And I think that one thing, so I used to play with the pastor's kids as well. So I think one time that he went over, what was it? My father and me went over to the pastor's house because I don't know exactly what it was. I don't quite remember, but I remember playing that damn Atari, that old ass Atari that they had.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's my first. That was the first system I've ever touched before I even got a Nintendo. But
that's
anyway,
that old school. That's how you know you was born
I didn't know.
On the cusp.
Yo, I was like, what the hell is this shit? But anyway. I was mad confused when I looked at that thing as a kid. But when I was there, I think my father was there with the pastor's wife, which for me, I'm at a kid, I thought that there's nothing about it. But then now as I'm older, I was kind of my dad and the pastor's wife together. I know he got kids around, but that's still a little bit iffy.
Right.
So the pastor comes around, of course, because and like I told you before, he kind of has like this level of ego to himself. The pastor comes around to the house, and he gave my father the weirdest demonic look.
Okay.
And then I looked at it. I'm like, I'm looking at his face, and I'm just like, But to be fair, my father is with the pastor's wife. But I don't know if there was like some type of agreement that it was okay for him to be there with the wife. I'm not too sure. But either way, he's kind of scrunched up his face. I still remember the face that he made, and I was just like, okay, cool. And I think my father went back to when we went back home. I think my father had mentioned that strange look that the pastor gave him to my mother, and my mother was like, and I didn't know what that meant, but now I sure do know what that is. And
your mama was in tune with the infinite.
Oh, she was in tune. She didn't consider herself really religious, but she does have some. I know she has some strong ass spiritual power.
Yeah.
But like to know that shit. But my mom was warning him. He was like, "Yo, there's something wrong with that pastor." So long story short, pastor lost the money. He lost the church. We don't know where the hell that money went. We don't know what happened to that money. That money just disappeared. So I think that was the time where my father actually stopped going to church because of that whole type of situation that was going down. There's probably actually more information that probably came out about him.
Right.
But the funny thing is that I think I've seen the pastor's kids like 10 years afterwards, and it was at Dave and Buster's, and it was the weirdest thing ever. I was like, what the hell? Like, they all grown and all of that. And then one thing I've noticed is that I didn't see the father at all. I just see the mother. And I was like, I was trying to put those two and two together.
Right.
Because, you know, if you're going out to a family event, like if you're trying to do like a family thing, the father and the mother is typically there, unless something else going on.
Right.
So it's kind of hard. It was kind of knowing what I know and knowing that the mother and it's just the kids, the best kids. I know something definitely went wrong. What that was my experience with I got so-and-so religion. It wasn't that great. There was a lot of shady shit going on in the church,
Right.
money, all that stuff. But yeah, that's the reason why I'm probably not that religious today. It's just a lot of demons in church.
Oh
They
yeah.
stay with these.
Oh yeah.
Man, it's just bad.
I mean, because at
It's
the end
real
of the day, right? It's so funny that you should mention. As you were speaking, I was thinking of a couple of key things. Like, you know, I experienced that as well in my church growing up. Like, you're learning about this religion, this tradition, this ritual that you must uphold, and there's people that's showing up to listen to these things, but their life is not in alignment with what they're listening to, right? And I don't know. Have you ever heard of Supernova Islam?
Well, I've heard of it, but I never know.
Okay, Supernova Islam, right? He is like, you know, health enthusiast, right? Like he loves like all things health or whatever. Like he has like juice that's it's like a powder that you can like pour into water or whatever, and it basically has like all the super greens that your body needs. That's his bread and butter, right? But he also like does like a little bit of rapping and stuff like that, whatever, different stuff or whatever. So one day I was watching one of his videos on YouTube, and he said the most profound thing, and he's not even Christian. He said the problem is not Christianity, right? The problem is that people are not invoking the spirit of Christ, right? Like you have people that are like invoking all types of spirits. They have rituals and stuff like that. Like we know that there's like spiritual evils at play in the world today. Like we already know that. You feel what I'm saying? By the atrocities that go on in the world today. Not only that, people are more open about witchcraft than they've ever been before. You feel what I'm saying? People are open about rituals that they're performing. And it's not across in other countries. It's right here in the United States. And I don't know about you, Miles. You know what I'm saying? But me, I've seen the videos where actual people that, like, you know, us common folk down here consider idols and stars, they talk about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? They talk about selling their souls and stuff like that. So we know that there's spiritual, what people like to call like paranormal activities and spiritual seances and stuff like that go on. So there's people like the evilness is working overtime. You feel what I'm saying? The guy that's ahead of all this evilness is working overtime to kill, steal, and destroy. We already know that because people talk about it all the time. So if we know that exists, you know what I'm saying? Then it's like, and I say this with, because I already know I've experienced both sides of the spirituality, but coming from, you know, anybody that's listening, there has to be a good versus the evil. You feel what I'm saying? Because if there's not a good versus the evil, then it's like, what are we all here for? What's the point? You feel what I'm saying? And everything is energy. Nothing really dies. Everything transitions, including us. So because I'm chasing rabbits. And that could be a whole nother podcast, but I'm going to get back on like what you were saying. So a lot of confusion lies in the fact that people are not invoking the spirit. They don't have an idea about what spirituality means. They're just going with the motion. So you see a lot of people showing up on Sunday, and then all the other days of the week, you see the atrocities of this person. And we dare not judge them because we're living in an age where somebody can't speak the truth. We're demonized for speaking the truth. Anything that has to do with the truth is being covered, is being beat down by a lie. You feel what I'm saying? But one thing about the truth is the truth will stand. You understand what I'm saying? Like in a room full of darkness and things in hiding, when you put a little light in there, the things will be revealed always. That's the wonderful thing about the truth. You feel what I'm saying? So I feel you about, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, my grandmother always told me don't put your trust in people. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that was her thing. She didn't, let me retract. She didn't tell me directly, but it was something that she always said. It was one of her favorite sayings. And, you know, some of us, when we're born, you know what I'm saying? There's some of us that aren't as affected by people as some of us, other of us are, but there's some of us that are affected by people, so much so that we live our lives, okay, by the reactions of people. What do people think of me? What are people doing on the and it gets to the point where it starts to become our weakness. But if we could step outside of ourselves and our egos, sorry about that, children, love my girls, but
so it's all good.
But yeah, just to wrap it up to a full 360, what I've learned is there's power in letting go of the ego and really tap into the spiritual aspect of myself. I feel like therein lies the true power. You know what I'm saying? So yes, like as you was talking about that, I was thinking like, yes, because that's how a lot of people become confused. And religion, in order to really like understand the inner workings of like religion, you got to tap into, because it's not even just like Christianity or Buddhism or you know, any of these other religions out here. A person can create a business and have their business model surrounded around whatever, you know what I'm saying, is there like what do you call it when you have like your selling points, like you get people to believe in a certain thing, like there is a problem and your business is the one that's going to solve it. You're creating followers, you're creating a religion around your business, so much so that people are not paying for a product. They're paying for you to serve them and to solve a problem. And that's how you get people to even come up out of their pockets. That's considered a religion too. So when people educate themselves, I think that they can really understand the institutional backing of religion. And that's what it's really all about. You feel what I'm saying? So yes.
Yeah, it's definitely definitely spiritual. Definitely. Yeah, it's just kind of weird how you do, you know, sit next to somebody and you feel their energy and what type of time they're on. Ain't that right? Like, it really is a spiritual thing if you think about it. It's like all the senses, everything in your brain is just like there's something wrong. I don't know what it is, but it's something there. And, speaking more about spiritual experiences, well, like I don't even know how to describe this. I felt like, you know, I've always been in tune in some way to my spiritual side, and I think I was more in tune when I was younger than I am now as an adult. You know what I'm saying? I feel because of all like the careers, I think I've been focusing on was logistics, numbers, and you know, I'm a career-based man. I'm not gonna lie about that. There's certain things that I focus more on, and I don't leave time for myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going to school. I'm in the career, the field that I dreamed of being in, and I'm doing this podcast, and it's always been this strange emptiness that I feel personally for myself. I know that I'm in tune, but there's some like subcomponent in my spirituality that is not getting what it needs to get. Yes. You know what I'm saying? I don't know exactly what it is, because I'm doing good in life. I'm doing all right. I'm doing good. But something in my heart is just telling me, hey, I need something. I don't know what that is. My brain doesn't know what that is, but my body knows what it is. And it's the weirdest thing ever.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Because Miles, at the end of the day, we're all a luminous beings. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
this body that we're in is just a shell, you know? And like I said earlier, like, nothing dies. It only shifts in energy. Like, when wood burns, right?
Yeah.
It turns to ash, but the ash don't disappear. It's ash. You feel what I'm saying? Like when a rock is burned, you feel what I'm saying? It transitions to, you know, magma or diamonds or all the different, you know, energetic, components that it could turn into. That's, you know, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, oh my goodness, and it's my favorite topic ever. I love it. It'll come to me later, but it's all surrounded around understanding, like, energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and understanding that, like I said earlier, like, nothing really dies. Everything only transitions. So what's talking to all of us, like, inside of us, right, is who we really are. This is why, like, you know what I'm saying, we can have a whole conversation, and this is so dope about, like, the human mind and your subconsciousness. This is why we can have a whole entire conversation without even opening our mouths. You know, that's a superpower. Like, before anybody else can hear what you're saying, before it even exits your mouth, you hear it first in your head. Right? Like, when you, like, honestly, like, yo, that superpower is often overlooked, which is why a lot of people cannot bring their thoughts under subjection, because they don't realize that it's a superpower. So you got a lot of people that's dealing with negative thoughts and stuff like that because they don't realize the power that the mind holds. Like, a person can literally reach into the realm of something that does not exist, you know what I'm saying, and bring it into reality, create it and form it and make it something that we can touch.
I never thought about it like that. You just blew my fucking mind.
Listen. So it's like I said, you know what I mean? In order to really be in tune with it, because you are in tune now. That's the thing about it. You feel what I'm saying? You're in tune. This is why when you was young, you could see things that other people couldn't necessarily see. And there's different versions of that. Like there's some people that have visions, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like, when I go to bed at night, I have visions, you know what I'm saying? Then I wake up and I'm like, you know, what does this mean? Some of them, I can tell what it means right away, but some of them, it's like, I really gotta sit down and start studying, crack a book open, because I'll be like, yo, this is heavy. Like, I need to know what this means, right? And so, there's a word for that. Like, when I was in my 20s, I was like at my lowest point, and this was maybe shortly, you know what I'm saying, before I started, like, you know, working for FedEx and stuff like that. But I was like at my lowest point, and I was talking to one of my brother's mentors. Her name is Najma, God rest her soul. She passed away, but we were just like, you know, I don't, you know, and I'm not, you know, I say this, you know, with a grain of salt, because I don't think it's a bad thing, but it's just not for me. I used to smoke and drink. I don't do that no more. You feel me? But when I was doing that, you know, we would sit down, we would have our little, you know, wine and spirits, our little, you know what I'm saying, herb on deck, and we would be talking. And one time, Najma told me, she said, Alisha, you have a gift to see the world in a way that a lot of people don't see it. And your kind of people is of a small percentage. You know what I'm saying? They're called indigo children. And as time has gone on in society, a lot of people have taken the indigo child theory and blurred the lines, so that they believe that a lot more people are indigo children than there really is out there. So, that's another subject for another podcast. I'm chasing rabbits again. But I say that to say that, Miles, you are very in tune, and listen to that voice inside of you, because that voice inside of you is who you really are. Like, you've perfected, you know what I'm saying, the ability to work out your mind and work out your muscles, right? But the spiritual aspect of yourself, which is your soul, is who you really are. And that's the part, you know what I'm saying, that's telling you that it's missing something. You know what I mean? And if you can get that part on point, like, you'll literally be unstoppable. Like, there's nothing in this world that can stop you. And I know this because, like, you know, being on this journey, I've tapped into, you know, other people's informational platforms that are millionaires, billionaires, that have cracked the code already. And when you get into what the code really is, you'll realize that it's not a code, but it's oftentimes a message that a lot of people miss. And that is what has these 1%ers in the position of power that they are in, because they tapped into that. However they tapped into it, whatever avenue they went, whether it's good or bad, they tapped into it. Believe that. You know what I'm saying? They become resourceful and they tapped in.
Let's see. Now that you mentioned it, I have met somebody at work who her energy has definitely been violated. Like, now that you're talking about it, like, there's something, like, I could obviously tell that she's been through a lot, and as a result of her being a lot, she denies any level of God. And now that I've come across this person, it's like the most unstable person I've ever met. And this is in my career, this is my space. We're talking about people who don't make the average salary. We're talking people who make middle class money. I'm talking about 100K, 120, 140. Now, I don't know what it is, but, like, my body is telling me to avoid her like a fucking plague. Like, I just, right. But I'm forced to work with this person. Like, she technically is my senior, right. And I'm just like, it's hard, because I feel like, even though she probably means well, it's just like there's a demon it's on your back, girl.
Oh,
like,
for
that
sure,
shit
for
is
sure.
lingering there. and I'm just like, I want to tell her that, but then again, she probably gonna do this atheist shit where she's like, I don't believe in that shit, blah blah blah. Right. But the funny thing is that she keeps mentioning, like, random situations, like situations that would just happen like 0.001% of the time, and I'm like, girl, I think the good side, I think you are in tune, but you're not accepting it. You're not accepting that you're in tuned into your spiritual. The fact that all these random circumstances are appearing for you to come help this person as well, help people as well, it's telling you something. And I want to tell her that, but I also know the demon's right there. Right. So what? So it's kind of hard for me to, like, it's hard for me to gauge, like where I'm at. So I'm pretty much silent. I pretty much, like, try to keep away. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just like, she is in a battle, and she doesn't even know about it. Like, it is insane. Like, every time I see her, I sit down there, I'm just like, shit, here we go. I don't know what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get the demon, or I'm gonna get the sort of good side. I don't know. But when they're battling each other, it's a nasty game. It's a nasty game. I'm telling you, because I got horns and I got fucking prayer hands at the same time staring at me, and I'm just like, I ain't got it.
Yep. You're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing, because you're still trying to find and understand yourself. You know what I mean? So it's good to just, like, stay away, because, like, you know, there's a saying, you know what I mean? You know, in the Bible, it's not, it doesn't do a person good, you know what I'm saying, to argue with a fool, but in discovering who you are, you know what I'm saying, you know, the divine, you know what I'm saying, Alpha and Omega, you know what I'm saying, God himself, you know what I'm saying, might use your experience as a living blueprint. Like, you never know why, you know, your path has been crossed, you know what I'm saying, with a certain scenario that might seem like, you know what I'm saying, in the case of this girl, like, yo, this is out of place. You know what I'm talking about? Like, yo, this girl, she a little cook. I don't even know what she's doing here. Like,
I don't even know why she's doing, but I know why she's doing it. She's very fucking intelligent.
Right,
it's just,
right.
But that's the only thing that's in the high. You feel me?
Right. Like, how can a person, like, yeah, she's intelligent, but how does she deal with her day-to-day battles and still come in? Because, you know, like, mental health is very real, right? Yeah. And a person could go on and on and on based off of their intelligence, but if you don't have no real foundation under yourself, you're bound to crack one day. You feel what I'm saying? And so, but you never know. Like, sometimes when a situation kind of seems like, okay, like, this makes sense. Like, she's here because she's intelligent, but, like, it's so weird. Like, why is my path crossed with hers? It almost seems like it's out of place. But the more you're in alignment with your spiritual destiny, the more you start to see things in a line and realize that it really is in place. For whatever reason that you don't understand right now, it'll soon be revealed to you. Everything is in place and as it should be. You know what I'm saying? But I got a question for you, Miles, though. Okay? Because this is something that I've, like, you know what I'm saying, embarked upon myself. Like, have you ever, like, come across, like, I guess, like, social groups or any type of information that, like, you know what I'm saying, was revealed? Because, you know, we was talking about, like, the white Jesus encased in that rustic, pretty, you know what I'm saying, you know, picture frame and stuff like that. But have you ever, like, gotten to a point in your life where you heard somebody talking about, like, we got all these, like, extremists and stuff like that, or whatever, that talk about black Hebrews and stuff like that. But at the core of the information, have you ever come across, like, black history in the Bible?
I don't remember shit except for Adam and Eve right now. I don't remember shit. But no, I don't think they ever talked about black people. I'm thinking from what I remember. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they mentioned anything about black people unless everybody's black in that fucking book.
Okay. Because now, check it, right? It is a multicultural book, but the book has been whitewashed, to say the least. It's been whitewashed.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, religion has been used as a weapon for thousands, hundreds of thousands, 10,000s of years. Yeah, I know that the word of the book is not the word of the book. You know what I'm saying?
You know, there's books missing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
they found. And I was about to say, they did find like an old scripture in the was it the Red Sea? And it was in a pot, and it was part of a Bible, and I think they're decoding it right now. So yeah, there's like a whole bunch of missing shit. I guarantee you the demons work in that book to some degree, not a lot, but I guarantee you there's some parts probably is in there. Because if you think about it, we have pastors and priests who, you know, doing all these, doing some atrocious things, whether promoting war, getting into political situations, whether they're touching kids.
Right.
Changing some type of word in the book. We heard that the Pope had changed the word in the book for some reason.
King Solomon changed it before. You know what I'm saying? Before there was even popes and governments, there were kings and queens. You feel what I'm saying? That's kings and queens in their kingdoms. You feel what I'm saying? And King Solomon was the very first to take that book, you know what I'm saying, and rearrange it to his liking, you know what I'm saying, and then pass the book off, you know what I'm saying, to be used as a tool for indoctrination. I totally agree with you.
Like, when I've heard of that, and I was a kid, mind you, I'm a kid. Like, when I heard about that, I'm like, oh no, fuck that shit. That shit's been manipulated. What?
Yeah.
Like,
I have history books about black people in the Bible, and that actually, it was through that rabbit hole that actually like strengthened my spirituality, bro. And I honestly, like, if you want, I can mention the name of the books.
Yeah, go ahead. No.
Yeah, so if you ever want to, like, you know what I'm saying, get into it, or anybody else, let me see. Let me look into my library, because, you know, I got a little library.
I got a library too, but it's all fucking like mathematical books and algorithms and all that shit.
Right. You gotta have a library. Knowledge is power. You got to.
Definitely power. I definitely need a spiritual book in there. I have everything else but spiritual books.
Yep. Yeah. Let me see. Oh, here we go. So, the first book that I got, it's all tattered because I've been through this book, and I really love this book. But it's called Blacks in the Bible: The Original Roots of Men and Women of Color in Scripture. And in this book, like, not only does it get into, this is not a religious book at all. This is a history book. You feel what I'm saying? Even when you look at the Bible, like, when you start tapping into, like getting the original Hebrew, like, scriptures and stuff like that, and reading those, not the ones that, you know, the King James version. When you start getting into it, you really start to see the black history in the Bible. And that is what we all really should be connected to. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of time you hear black people saying, like, this is a white man's religion and stuff like that. But how many of those people that are saying it's a white man's religion have truly looked into the history? Not many. Not many, Miles, because we're not taught to look into our history, right? We just take what we've been taught and either reject it or accept it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I got so much respect for, like, and here's the thing, right? Like, it's designed that way because distractions are set in place, systems are set in place. Like what you were saying, like, you have a routine. You go to school, you go to work, you're getting paid really good money, you do your podcast and stuff. But for the most part, I think we can all agree that you have a schedule in place, right? And your goal one day is financial freedom. I know you're an intelligent person, but imagine people that don't have that in mind. They just working and looking forward to their 401k plans or their pensions and saving and this, that, and the third, because we're the generation after the baby boomers that was thinking that way. You feel what I'm saying? What? You know what I'm saying? And it shows, right? Like, a lot of people, like, it shows, like, it's either manifested in your intelligence or the way that you look, the way that you carry yourself, right? But I respect people like Einstein, because Einstein looked a hot mess, but he was a genius.
He was a genius, but you know the funny part is that he did believe in God.
And then check this out. He looked a hot mess. Like, you could tell, like, Einstein didn't live by, you know what I'm saying, what we would consider routine. You feel what I'm saying? Like Einstein was in his head. You feel what I'm saying? He was all about growing what was inside of him and cultivating that. And this, because of Einstein, is the reason why, you know what I'm saying, we have the information that we have today when it comes to, oh my goodness. Oh man, Miles, man. Words that come to me later, man, because I keep thinking of this and I love this stuff. Like, I love this, it's,
the demons trying to make you forget. That's what's happening right now.
It's not philosophy. It's something else. It's not philosophy. Like, philosophy has something to do with it, but it's an actual scientific word for it that people, like, you know, everything is energy. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that whole thing. But Einstein was a part of that. You know what I'm saying? Those timeless ideas, you know what I'm saying? That he never stopped that. And I'm sure that there was some people that was like, Einstein, man, like, won't you go get a job, man? Like, you looking messed.
Yeah, he does look crazy.
I'm telling you, like, yo, like, if in today's world, you know what I'm saying? Imagine, because, yo, there are still Einsteins in today's world, right? That have dreams, ideas, that, you know what I'm saying, they're chasing, you know what I'm saying? And people's looking at them like, man, you working too hard, man. Just, like, go get a job, you know what I'm saying? Cause, like, go do what everybody else is doing. Because it's easier that way. You know what I'm saying? Just go, man, get a job, work your way up in the ranks, man. You know what I'm saying? Just go to school, man, and just live, man. Like, won't you just come out, relax, go party, man? Just live a little, man. Take a bath, man. You stink. No, sorry.
Get some exfoliant. You know, we got that too on deck.
Yo, comb your hair, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man looked crazy, that's for sure. Like, I think he was so stuck in his head. It's insane. He was so stuck in his head, his physical suffered. That's why I say life is a bell curve, baby. It's a bell curve. It's not a straight line at all. We gotta find that equilibrium between all things.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, you gotta have a little comedy, because these conversations is heavy. But
yeah,
what I'm saying is, like, if a person, you know what I'm saying, took time out to really look into their history, you know what I'm saying, instead of just taking what everybody is saying, you know what I'm saying, for face value. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no strength in that. Just, you always gotta question what somebody's saying. You feel what I'm saying? And go do the research for yourself. You feel what I'm saying? And when I did that, Miles, I could tell you, like, you know, and that's probably because we probably don't have enough time, but I've had actual spiritual encounters where, you know what I'm saying, like, evil spirits was attacking me, and I've also had spiritual encounters with the divine. You feel what I'm saying? But it wasn't like, well, since I was a little girl, I've always had, like, dreams and visions, but I'm talking about actually, like, having, like, things that people would be like, that's unexplained. You know what I'm saying? That's a weird phenomenon. I've had those experiences, so I can tell you out of my own mouth, you know what I'm saying, that I know that what I believe in is real. You know what I'm saying? And it was, and honestly, those experiences, I had those experiences at a time where, you know what I'm saying, I was not going to church. You feel what I'm saying? I wasn't going to church. I wasn't actually walking into four walls and going to church, because even if we look into the history of the Bible, you know what I'm saying? Church was created by, you know what I'm saying, like an actual building and stuff like that. That was created by the Sadducees and Pharisees and stuff like that. And we look at them and we know that they was crooked. You know what I'm saying? But when Jesus, a black man, was walking the earth, you feel what I'm saying? He was knocking tables over in the church because they were selling stuff in the church. He sat among hoes and pimps, you know what I'm saying, drug dealers, and ate with them. Yo, he had people pissed. He came in as what we know today as a rebel. You know what I'm saying? He was doing things on what they considered was the Sabbath, you know what I'm saying? But he was like, I'm not here for you. I came because my father sent me. You feel what I'm saying? I'm here to do my father's business. You know what I'm saying? And so, yes. And so he was actually a rebel against the system. Like Martin Luther King was, even though he came in peace, he wasn't working according to what the system wanted him to do. You feel what I'm saying? He was trying to improve the system. He worked against the system. You know, we got Malcolm X, we got Harriet Tubman, we got all these people throughout history that we see challenged the institutions and was like, no, I'm not going to do it the way you want me to do it. You feel what I'm saying? Because I'm not here for you. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not here to appease you in your system.
I think we need culture as well. Especially the demons that lurk around and our things that we suffer with, that we can have the power over the change for ourselves. And then we could, once we fix ourselves, we could also then fix the system that encompasses all of us, right? But yeah, we are kind of over time though, Alisha. I'm not gonna lie, but it was a good conversation.
Yo, we should have a part two, because I got some more questions. We should definitely have a part two.
Yo, we definitely gonna do. I feel like we should definitely do a part two. We got so much to talk about, but man, we got demons in the church and demons in our lives, man. That's kind of crazy.
Yes, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you for sure, man. And at the end of the day, it's about opening people's eyes to what's really going on. Because the beginning is the losing of your mind. You feel what I'm saying? There's disruption
Exactly.
before success and evolution. You feel what I'm saying? So if you could dismantle everything that you thought to be true and really get down to what the real truth is, therein lies the freedom. You know what I'm saying? But on that note, I'm gonna let you do your thing, brother.
Sure, we got more to talk about. I definitely love you having being a guest on here, and then hopefully we could discuss more potential opportunities later on.
Sure.
All right, Alisha. Well, time is up, guys, and follow or subscribe wherever you're at. All the love is greatly appreciated. Peace.